So, I've spent quite a bit of this past year listening to pop music, trying to find some really good prog stuff, but man, at the end of the day, I just felt like we weren't getting a whole lot of really meaty metal. And that's one of my first loves of music. My first love of music obviously is prog rock. But then getting into that deep, guttural prog metal, there's a part of my heart that just loves that. And so when this album dropped, I was ready just to get blown away. And yep, this is exactly what the doctor was looking for. So let's dive into it. Absolute Elsewhere by Blood Incantation. So Blood Incantation is they're a fun group. So they are, in my mind, they're kind of like forerunners of like intergalactic death metal, like very acid, very psychedelic. They were founded in 2011 in Denver, Colorado. We've got guitarist and vocalist Paul Reddy, drummer Isaac Falk, guitarist Morris Koloskuri, sorry about that, Morris, and bass Jeff Barrett. And these guys came onto the scene with their debut album way back in 2016 with their album Starspawn, and it really like set the metal world ablaze, and it was followed up by one of their masterpieces, which is The Hidden History of the Human Race, which once again, like, it kind of infused a little bit more philosophy in it, a little bit more of like big galaxy brain stuff going on there, but really kept that quintessential spacey, trippy, psychedelic movements within this just blast beats death metal. Then I was actually introduced to the band with their 2022 album of Time Wave Zero, which is their ambient noise rock, or not even noise rock, just ambient noise record. Taking a page from like Klaus Schultz or Tangerine Dream, that's very atmospheric. It's just this tones and meditative states. And, one of the guys at my local record store sold me in on this, saying, oh yeah, these guys are like the deep guttural, just blast down the doors, intense, like progressive death metal. But they decided just to mellow out with this one. And I found myself loving Time Wave Zero. I know not a lot of people were fans of this record, but I found myself loving it. There was just something so warm about it, that this death metal group wanted to do this ambient sounds, like it sounds like a cassette tape that my aunt would give me when she found out that I started meditating, like that's kind of the vibe on this one. So I was very excited to see where the band was going to go from here. And we get Absolute Elsewhere, which kind of fuses Time Wave Zero with The Hidden History. It's got their signature death metal sound back and forefront, but it does what I love about progressive death metal. It's technically 2 tracks across, 2 sides of the album, and each one is split up into 3 tablets. So you have the first side, which is the Stargate, the second side of the Message. And I see that a lot of people are equating this to be like Death meets Pink Floyd. They're still taking a hold of that proggy atmosphere that they got, the Hidden Histories, while infusing that with the guttural death metal vibes with the very groovy, trippy, soundscapey ambient sounds that we got with Time Wave Zero. On some ways, this is my only real criticisms of this band. It feels like they're still mixing oil and water in certain senses. Like, I wish that they blended this a little bit more into a mosaic rather than starbursts, because there are moments that, okay, this is very clearly the death metal moments. These are very clearly the very trippy, very proggy, very soundscapey. Now, this is the very atmospheric moments, and I wish that they had kind of blend this a little bit more so that we weren't going from like one musical style to another at a break back pace. That's really my only main criticism, is that the transitions also from the one point to another, I wish that was held a little bit better so that they used the momentum and captured the moment to then elevate whatever's next, rather than it just being okay, now we're done with that one, we're going to move on to this one. Now, I know a lot of people are going to disagree, and that's totally fine. That's just how I've been listening to this record. That being said, when the music is hard, man, it is gnarly. And I also love the fact that even though, these tracks, this, Stargate Tablet 1, are in digestible chunks, they still get pretty proggy. Like the first track, Stargate Tablet 1, is still 8.5 minutes long. So you're given a number of moments to really reflect and digest and allow things to come and go. And the transfer from one movement to another, like Tablet 1 into Tablet 2, is held very well. Like, it doesn't feel like these are two separate tracks. They just feel like they're two separate movements of a single track. I also love that we have Tangerine Dream that's guest starring on Tablet 2. I'm so glad that we're getting that classic Tangerine Dream sound, like Alpha Centauri or Phaedra or like Rubicon and Starosphere, like some of those really classic early 70s, late 70s, mid 70s Tangerine Dream albums that I'm just like, yes, now we're getting into that like vaporwave, like time wave zero kind of an aspect of it. And that felt more like a homecoming for me. And I absolutely love that. And we get into the third movement of the album, the Tablet 3, that really solidifies and brings home this blast beats, this relentless fashion of it without it being like too insane or too crazy at that time as well. So I love that they're able to balance both quite well in that sense. So I love the fact that they're able to master all of these different expressions very, very well, because we're dealing with almost opposite ends of the musical spectrum in that way. We've got the blast beats death metal with almost like krautrock, atmospheric, very transcendental, transient sounds. So that's Stargate. Loved it. Loved how relentless and how guttural it was. Then we come into the message, and the message has a little bit more of like this Floydian flavor of things, and I'm getting flavors of Roger Waters and David Gilmour and that kind of acid rock, space rock kind of a flavor. I'm loving those more psychedelic flavors that are woven into this tapestry. This is found in both Tablet 1 and 2, but where this really comes together is in Tablet 3 of the message, that 11-minute real big epic. I mean, they're all big epics that really solidify this. I'm just floored by how they're able to master all of these different soundscapes, these very different soundscapes, and come out as winners on both. I can't really, if pressed, say if I like the metal stuff or if I love the more ambient or trippy or psychedelic stuff more. I love them all in the context of this record. So, all that being said, this is a weird one to try to recommend because I think it's too heavy for anybody that really loves those ethereal, transcendental kind of music. And I know that's not a word, but I'm going to use it anyway because it's quite a good fit descriptor. And I think that it might be a little bit frustrating and a little bit trying for those big metalheads that just want that blast beats, that just want the death metal. Now, I know that a lot of metalheads are here for the experimenting, and I'm here for that. That's why I love it. So I feel like this album's actually going to really attract a progressive rock crowd to it. Those who love the experimentation, that love something new and something different. And I think that's where this album and where this band is going to shine. I'm extremely excited to see where these guys go from here because I've just been floored with this. There are so many moments and passages on this, like Stargate Tablet 2 being so Tangerine Dream-like, and the message Tablet 1 where it's just that brutal, unrelenting force. Yeah, there's something here for everybody, which means it might not appeal to anybody, but it appealed to me, so it appeals to someone. Anyway, what I will say in the end as I wrap all this up, Absolute Elsewhere by Blood Incantation is an album I love with my whole heart. I honestly can't wait to see where they go from here. This album really floored me. I was really expecting this to just kind of be that's a fun little experiment. Now let's see what else we have out there. The more I listen to this album, the more I get out of it. So I do highly recommend this one. This one does get the note seal of approval with a little bit of a caveat that it's not quite for everybody. Know that this has some blast beats, know that this has that death metal kind of forefront and center, but also know that there's quite a bit of experimentation and quite a bit of just throwing things in the pot and seeing if it sticks. And that's what I love from a band. So That's what I've got for Absolute Elsewhere by Blood Incantation. What did you guys think about this record? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Whatever you thought, please let me know by commenting down below. And that's where I'm going to leave it for you guys today. That's where I'm going to leave it. So thank you all so much for watching. As always, you guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.